Hello, high school. This is week 2, and the assignment is called VE Day. The war in Europe is ended. Surrender is unconditional. VE will be proclaimed today. Our troops on Okinawa gain. That was the headline on the front page of the New York Times on Tuesday, May 8, 1945. The headline shouted the news that everyone in the United States had been waiting to hear. The Nazis had been defeated after 5 years, 8 months, and 6 days of war. The war in Europe was officially over. Crowds gathered in many cities to celebrate. In London, England, thousands of people came together to share their happiness. London and other cities in England had been bombed over and over during the war. Over 1 million houses were destroyed or damaged in London alone. More than 51,000 people had been killed. The surrender meant that England could begin to rebuild. In New York City, people started celebrating a day early. The United States had been involved in the war for almost 3.5 years. News of the coming surrender had been leaked the day before the official report. On VE Day, office workers in the city threw most anything they could find into the streets. They tossed phone books, playing cards, and ticker tape out of the window. Garment workers threw bolts of cloth into the streets. A reporter from the New York Times wrote that Broadway was 10 inches deep in fabric. In Moscow, because of the difference in time, it was already May 9th when the surrender was announced. About 25 million Russians had died in the war. The Nazis had invaded their country. Their people were ready for an end to the fighting. Their celebration was not until May 9th, but it was just as joyful as the ones taking place in other cities. VE Day is a very important date in the history of the world. It is remembered in many countries in many different ways. In some countries, it is VE Day. In others, it is known as Remembrance Day or Victory Day. Some countries celebrate it on May 8th, some on May 7th, and others have chosen May 9th. In 2010, Russians honored the 65th anniversary of VE Day by including British, French, and American soldiers in their parade for the first time in history. World War II was a terrible time for millions of the world's people. VE Day gave those remaining hope that the war in the Pacific would soon be over. It should be no surprise that the day holds a very special place in the hearts of people all over the world. Okay, so here are our questions for this section. Number 1. The headline shouted the news that everyone in the United States was waiting to hear. This phrase is an example of what kind of figurative language? A personification, a simile, a metaphor, or hyperbole? Let me get to the next page for you guys. The writer's main reason for writing the story was to A. Persuade the readers, B. Trick the readers, C. Inform the readers, or D. Amuse the readers. Number 3. In what year did the Nazis surrender to the Allies? A. 1940, B. 1942, C. 1944, or D. 1945. How long was World War II gone on before VE Day? A. Almost 9 years, B. Almost 3 years, C. Almost 10 years, or D. Almost 6 years. Number 5. Name 2 things people threw from the windows in New York City on VE Day. Number 6. What was special about Victory Parade Day in Moscow in 2010? Number 7. On what date is VE Day celebrated? A. May 8th, B. May 3rd, C. May 1st, or D. May 15th. And 8. In some countries, VE Day is called Remembrance Day or Victory Day. Is this true or false? Alright guys, I hope you have a great week. I miss you. Keep up with your reading and your journals. And I will post next week's reading probably Sunday. All right? Thank you guys. Miss you.